Hey, what's up, guys? This is for a watcher, Aurochs Varange. Basically, he was interested in obviously comics or a thing I reviewed a lot of. He had noticed some of them I put in storage because it was silly or the good stuff though I think I left up, but you can say it's not organized well. So I thought I'd give him a primer. Comics is almost a century old. There's a lot of good stuff. I would argue probably the best period was the 70s and the 80s. There's stuff that was good after the millennia. There's a lot of stuff that was really good and fun, crazy fun in the golden age, the pre-code days, just to say the 40s and the 50s. Um, Superheroes are okay when you're growing up. You like them. At this point, I prefer like not superhero stuff unless something is really differently done. I prefer the war stuff, horror stuff, and also there's I'm not manga is another Japanese comics. Okay, the industry developed after the war. There's a lot of good stuff in there. The new stuff is good. I don't dare show it because of the copyright. They're so strict on this classic stuff, and I still prefer the classic stuff in a way. And so I'll make this as a primer of things that you can get. Right, this is a collection of a very unique war series, okay, about a German American who gets accused of murder in the army and sort of unofficially joins the German army, um, just to like try to survive in the moment, and goes goes through a really horrible experience. And what was cool about this was it was canceled in the early 70s, but this collection here, uh, the story was finished by one of the greatest artists that still exists, uh, Wayne Van Zant. Okay, that's a name that you'll see again. But so I finally ended this story really good, really anti-war. I don't think any comic really was as good as this in any country except maybe in Japan. Not even the vaunted British comics about the war. This was one of the best things, and of course the guy got fired, right, for the story. But this is what anything from this guy, Don Lomax, anything, probably one of the best writers. The guy was a Vietnam veteran, and he drew this comic in the 80s in the independent comic scene. Just very, I don't know how to say it, really good stuff, man. This is stuff that Garth Ennis wish he could write. I'm gonna rip on Mr. Ennis a bit. Even he's done good work, which I recommend, but I'm gonna stick with Mr. Lomax here. So this Lomax actually ended up doing work for Marvel later, but he continued the thing on his own. The guy is an older gentleman, but he's still pumping stuff out. Anything from Don Lomax is really, really good. So this one might be really hard to find. Jack Jackson. This was one of the San Francisco like underground artists who then went back, I guess, to where he lived in Texas and started doing stuff like this. Very well, you can say politically incorrect because it's about the Texas Confederates, Wesley Hard, and like these guys killed a lot of blue coats and a lot of their black soldiers that they put up to get them, but none of these guys, in the end, these guys all eventually got done in too. It's not really, some people back when this came out thought it was really controversial. He's not really taking a side, Jack Jackson. Okay, obviously he's not a fan of the Union. I can't blame the guy, but in it he just shows kind of what happens. It's not really taking a side. It's just shows what happens. And eventually, these rebel dudes, that you live by the gun. Eventually, you die by the gun. So, and this is probably really hard to find. Maybe I should have made it as a choice. But if you can on eBay, I would recommend that. If you want to get like superhero stuff, I want to mention everyone knows Alan Moore. I'm sure you know Alan Moore, Watchmen, V for Vendetta. Actually, that stuff is recommended, I will say, but no one ever remembers this series. This is a Marvel series from the 80s, Strike Force Morituri. It's really more, it's got a superhero veneer to it, like, but it's really a war story about humans in a universe that's not part of the Marvel universe. It's like a near future Earth where like the Earth united just to get invaded by aliens finally when we stopped fighting each other. And the aliens are really nasty. So there's a process they come up with, the Morituri process, which out of like hundreds of people who die from it instantly, some of them survive to gain like abilities and become superhuman and then become soldiers against these aliens. But the process eventually will kill you within a year and anytime within the year. So some of these characters die before the year is up out of the blue. So very grim, very unsentimental, very violent. They kill the aliens just as the aliens kill countless humans. That's what I really liked about this series, and that eventually, like I said, the first issue, everyone in that first issue is gone, pretty much by the teens. So I pretty much would just stick with Jamie Gillis era. Eventually, they got some British guys on there. Yeah, Peter B. Gillis and James. Yeah, stick with this guy, Peter B. Gillis era. One of the most underrated. I don't know why this is not mentioned more in this comic. So it's a little pricey, these collections. I would just get the first two, 1 and 2. But man, this was as good. Listen, this was as good as Watchmen, in my opinion. And I believe it came out on like the Marvel Epic line. It's just not mentioned much. So I don't know why. Speaking of Wayne Van Zandt, here's just an example of the stuff he's done. You can see Tales of the Waffen SS. I mean, he's done pretty much all sides of the war, but you know, how dare he show these men, fighting and actually beating their enemies. Amazing artist. Another guy, is getting on in years, but anything from him is recommended as well. In terms of manga, these are my late fiance's old comics. Lone Wolf and Cub, Baby Cart, whatever. There's a movie series, there's a TV show, but this manga, Lone Wolf and Cub, and these are my girlfriend. She actually had these. Wow, from 1988, first comics. This is amongst the first manga ever translated. The art in this, I mean, the manga style that Koseki Kojima was developing at this point in the early 70s. This was really pushing comics to another level. And same idea, what I was saying, where Ito Agami is a samurai, right? Traditional, but he's against the authority because the authority is corrupt. And I think we can really, kind of identify with that. Once again, and very unsentimental comic as well. So I think I'll wrap this up for now. Another great artist, Timothy Truman. He actually did a really great Jonah Hex series for Vertigo with Joe R. Lansdale. It was kind of like known as a Western horror writer. Timothy Truman, this one in particular, did a lot of work like this. This is, of course, about Simon Gertie, dirty Simon Gertie, but from his point of view, actually, he was a white man, basically captured by Indians and finding himself in between. But eventually, as the Revolutionary War broke out, he took this side. After he helped the Americans, and then after getting screwed a bunch of times, he decided to help the British and be a Tory, in the old terms of the Tory. And it is brutal, unsentimental. Doesn't show the Indians as noble. If anything, it shows what the Indians would do. They would torture captured prisoners, which was something that, like I said, when the tide turned, bit them on the ass. It also shows how they were abandoned by the British. This in particular, but anything Truman did, I recommend. And real, like, high-level comic storytelling. Giving a unique point of view and actually being pretty fair, not being, knee-jerk or not being reactionary. Being, telling a story about people regardless of the good, the good, the bad, and everything in one, which is really all we're asking for in our art, isn't it? We're not trying to be like didactic. At least I'm not. So Anyway, I'll do another vid with some other suggestions, but I think that's a lot to start with. How you find them in the UK, I'm not sure. This I know is collected into smaller editions, but there's a little primer for you. And thanks for asking my opinion to think of what you might check out. So, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie too. These are violent. These are violent. I wouldn't let kids see them until, well, I don't know. I see when I was like, I mean, I seen stuff I shouldn't have seen. I'll be honest, growing up. But by the time you're 12, 14 year old, they're ready for this. So these are pretty violent comics as well. So, and the consequences of the violence are there too, which is really what you should show in this stuff. But anyway, enough. Hope you liked the suggestions.